Okay, my friends, you are in for a treat if you want to spend some time. Now, I have shown everyone that there were giants on the earth, or in the earth in those days. This is a hair follicle from a giant creature. That's where the erector muscle attaches, and that is the sebaceous gland right there. This is the root of the hair, and these two things are the vein and artery, those two little dots. The hair grows down and then comes back up, and it's a hair shaft comes up the top. This is a curly-haired person because it has a flat side. I never knew that until people told me that after I showed it. Now, I've shown we found new species called the no-toes, and they have springs inside instead of bones. I found my friend here, Caesar, my best friend. He's a goose, Caesar Augustus. And there's his feathers, and he also died flat in the Great Flood, which was mentioned in all the ancient texts. So we have all new textbooks coming out. We're going to have to start all over again, and academia will not do this, so we have taken it on ourselves. So I have just had a very, very interesting discussion with a good friend, Liam Martin, and you're welcome to watch it. And it's about Ethiopia and the biology. Well, it's about Ethiopian all over the world, and I show again the dragon and the fish in the desert and all of these things that have been discounted, dismissed, and violently opposed by academia, just like my friend Emmanuel Velikovsky. Now, let's take a look at him and see how he was treated, which is identical to how I have been treated, and I am about to become legal on this. I'm about done with this nonsense. So legality is my next avenue. Okay, my friends, I found this quite amusing. I post a lot of papers on academia.edu, and I have 5,800 different mentions in other people's papers. And they say our Spur was cited in a human geography paper. Human geography. Ever hear that term before? I never have. Okay, my friends, this is getting very, very, very serious now, and this video is going to be fabulous. You're going to enjoy it. I have been treated exactly like Emmanuel Velikovsky. He had all the supporting documentation and all of the ancient text that supported his position that we had a catastrophic event which caused devastation worldwide. Well, he didn't have a physical thing to hold in his hand. I do. He didn't. He was destroyed. I have it. I have the evidence. I have CAT scans, DNA, specimens, everything that supports exactly what he said and supports what Yale has agreed to after I presented all my evidence to them. They made this about a year after I finally was all upset and wrote a book condemning them. And then they wrote and said exactly what I said. Now, you could maybe see that as plagiarism. I presented this, and Derek Briggs said, no, this can't be true. It's not true. It's Mr. Spur. You just have rocks. And then he presents this, never gives me any credit, and says that this is what happened. Exceptional preservation of soft-bodied creatures by silica oceans. Worldwide. Exactly what I told him. And I told him how it happened. I said there was a lot of silicates, there was high salts, and a lot more than that. And anyways, he printed the same thing, and he says we don't know how it happened. The preservation, but remains controversial. No, it doesn't. I know exactly how it happened. So this is going to become, I'm sure, going to become very, very serious as soon as the mainstream media picks up on how against reality Yale was, and this guy particular, Derek Briggs. But I sent it to all the people at Yale. All of these people have been notified that they had used my work, which, I don't know, some people might call that plagiarism. Will a court of law see it that way? I'm not sure, but I'm going to find out. And we're also going to find out if they see fiduciary failure here for Yale to take care of looking for the best interests of their students. I think they're looking for their own best interest, my own opinion. Will I see it as academic fraud, which is defined as suppression of unwanted scientifically confirmed data, which is CAT scans, DNA specimens. If they won't look at it even, from the top university, supposedly, everybody hears the name, Yale, wow, big deal. No, I'm telling you, no, not in my opinion. And we'll find out when we present this in public, because I can't see any other way to do this and somehow go through the legal system. I mean, isn't their duty to look after the students and to present truth and honesty and to investigate what is presented to them? And I did all the things he asked me to do, Derek Briggs. He said you have to have CAT scans, you have to have DNA, you have to have chemistry, because he was very, very arrogant and obnoxious about this. So I said, I will do all those things, but your obligation to look at that. I did all those things. He said, well, all I see is rocks. Go find a geologist. I'm not kidding. This will not stand, my friends. It will not stand. Okay, my outstanding friends, what am I showing you here? Well, it's a hair follicle. Most people don't know you have a muscle attached to your hair follicle. Well, that's how your hair can stand up on end. They don't just do that by themselves. Literally, that's what makes them stand up. Now, this is the oiler. It's called the sebaceous gland. It oils the shaft as it comes out. This is the bulb. These two things right here are the vein and artery, blue and red. Now, can I show you one in a mud fossil? Yes, I can. It's a little bit normally larger than you or me, and it happens to be this one right here. Now, I've been showing this for a while, and people say, oh, how big would that be if it was a human being? I said, well, let's see if we can figure it out. This is, again, the erector pili muscle attachment right there. Very hard to miss. This, of course, is the bulb. This is quite obviously the sebaceous gland. And this is quite obviously the hair shaft. And this is quite obviously the vein and artery. Now, this is nucleophilic substitution, so this whole thing has been turned from a hair bulb into whatever the chemistry was in the solutions that it was impacted in. That's what mud fossil is all about. It's impacted in mud. Whatever the mud contains for chemistry eventually invades and replaces the chemistry that was there. So that's called nucleophilic substitution. And it all depends on where this was and what was in the matrix that surrounded it. All right, so and the reason these are outside the body, why wouldn't this just be in a whole map of these? Well, this was a hot water flood. As I will show you, Velikovsky said that the Earth was almost impacted by Venus. There was a hot water flood. All the giant creatures died, basically. And that's what was recorded in every place on Earth. We're going to get so deep into Velikovsky, you will never forget his name again, which he was denigrated, dismissed, destroyed. All of those D's are gone now. Now, this is that hair follicle. Now, how big is it? Well, I don't know. This is what I've measured out to be a normal hair follicle, somewhere around 0.2 millimeters. All right. Now, this is a little bigger. Let's see how big it is. Okay, so we went from 0.2 millimeters up to 49.7 millimeters. All right, so let's figure the math. Okay, the way it works out, it's approximately 250 times bigger than what you would consider the average human hair follicle. Now, 250 times a 6 foot tall person would be 6 times 250 equals 1,500 feet. So that's a pretty tall guy. That's a lot bigger than your average guy now. 1,500 feet tall would be approximately the size of that creature. Now, how big is the Empire State Building? I don't know. Look at that, 1,454 feet. That's basically exactly the same size as this guy would have been if he was equivalent to a 6 foot tall guy with a hair that size. Look at this. Well, let's see. Yep, it's almost exactly the same height as I said. King Kong. See you later, little tick. what can I say? It's a whole different world, my friend. Okay, so you've seen the hair follicle. This is like 250 times, something like that. Yep, exactly. Now, what is this? This is King Kong's hands grabbing through the windows up on the top of the Empire State Building. I have a finger in my backyard. It's 3 feet long from here to here. Just the fingertip right there, from there to there, 3 feet long. I figured that guy's got to be about 180, 190 feet tall, something like that. But this is completely proven. There is no question about it. And the one I just talked about, I have the fingertip and I have the actual fingerprints from that specimen, and it's been DNA tested. I have other ones that have been CAT scanned that are very, very, very large too. Bits and pieces of them. Obviously, you can't have the whole damn thing CAT scanned. I hadn't had that whole finger CAT scanned, the big one, but I did have a smaller one CAT scanned, which is well, here it is right here. Here it is right there. This one here I did have CAT scanned. That's the bone, and I can show you in the CAT scans. I broke this piece off to see if I could find the actual vein in here, which I did. Anyway. Okay, so before we see the video, let's just finish up with this. I showed you the hair follicle, much, much bigger than your average hair follicle now. Listen, look at this. I thought this was hilarious. Academia paper. Congratulations on your 5,800th mention. You get mentioned in papers and they alert you to that mention. Listen to this. The name R. Spur cited in a human geography paper. I never heard that term before, human geography. Okay, my friends, I am going to play this. I'm not sure when this was recorded, but it goes back a number of years, I'm sure. And this was just put up 6 months ago by SMU Jones Film. And this is about Emanuel Velikovsky and how they treated him and how they responded to his deep research. He went back through all the ancient texts of every culture on the face of the planet. All the carvings, all the libraries, the papyruses, the scrolls, every document and every recorded cultural hand down of what they said history was. And it all led to 3,500 years ago, Jupiter spit out what happened to end up being Venus. And it almost hit Earth. And Velikovsky claims there was a couple of passes, and the real deadly one, I believe, was 3,500 years ago. That's my estimation. I could be wrong, but it was in that area. It wasn't much different than that. Velikovsky said, I think there was 600 years difference between the two major collisions, or the two collisions. The first one was the real bad one. The second one, I don't think was as bad. We got to do some more research into every little bit of word he said, but that's the basis of it. It almost hit Earth twice. One of them just destroyed the Earth, basically combusted the atmosphere, cooked the Earth because it took 7 days to get here, and then it went around and smashed dead nuts into Mars and destroyed and killed Mars. Now, you know that my belief is that everything is biology, and I will show you Mars as the biology that the astronauts are missing and the space people are missing again today. They missed it with Velikovsky because they just had an idea. They just couldn't switch. They couldn't open their eyes. They just couldn't do it. And they still can't do it. So here goes. I'm just let this play. I'm not going to make a word about it. I'm going to have the words come up. And this guy, this is from video collection at SMU. Now here goes.
Velikovsky contends that global catastrophes have occurred throughout the geological history of the Earth, and that these catastrophes have been caused by agents external to the Earth. The most recent catastrophes were caused by Venus and Mars. These agents can be identified through the ancient scientific and literary writings. In 1950, when Velikovsky published Worlds in Collision, it was assumed and widely believed that all of the planets were formed on the order of several billion years ago, all formed at one time. It was also assumed and widely believed that no global catastrophes had occurred on the Earth since its formation. Several review articles appeared in magazines before the book was actually on sale to the public. And from these review articles, it was quite obvious that Velikovsky did not make these assumptions. Hence, he was considered to be incorrect. The assumptions by 1950 had become scientific dogmas, and the astronomers and geologists of the time considered that no amount of proof could disprove these assumptions.
Well, what's happened since 1950? Do the people who objected then still object?
The people that had vested interest in particular theories at that time are still quite violently opposed to Velikovsky. It turns out that nearly every major unexpected find in the space age was expected by Velikovsky and people who had read his works.
And what is the main objection to Velikovsky?
Astronomers usually find out that Velikovsky contends that Venus erupted from the planet Jupiter and assume that that is totally impossible and hence write off the entire theory. Then if somebody comes up and asks them, what about Velikovsky's work, they say, no, it's totally wrong. And this is one of the main reasons that they give.
What are a couple examples of some of the predictions that have come true?
A prediction that actually Velikovsky prefers the word advanced claim was about the temperature of Venus. It was not considered that Venus was as hot as Velikovsky claimed. But by 1962, when the probes went by Venus, it turns out that Venus was extremely hot and much hotter than anyone except Velikovsky had anticipated.
What will happen if Velikovsky is given credit for some of these predictions that have been proved? What effect might all this have?
If people start investigating his works open-mindedly, and hence they will start realizing that there is considerable logic behind what he says, this eventually will require new textbooks in astronomy, history, geology, archaeology, and all related fields.
Okay, this is Roger once again, Roger Spur, and I have Liam Martin with me, who is a friend, and he is also a podcaster, and I'll try to turn you on to his podcasts. He is very interested in discussing things that most people aren't interested in discussing. Now,
I appreciate that. Thank you.
yeah, it's crazy because these are the big picture things, and people, they don't seem to see it real easily. But let's just go. I want to talk about Ethiopia and the biology that's in Ethiopia. Now we're going to be going back and forth from Google Earth to these pictures of this depression, this Dabu depression, and I'm going to show it to you right now. Now, I did a couple of little video clips and I was just going to put it up, but I figured, well, I got Liam, so as I go through these clips, we'll just take a look at them. And I got to get this thing out of the way. All right, you still seeing my screen all right, right?
Yeah, we're good, yeah.
All right, now here's what's going on. We're in this, Africa is splitting apart, the Bao fissure in Ethiopia. Now, they had an explosion there the other day, and I was looking at it because I like to follow these anomalies that are happening on the Earth. Nobody can explain it. No explanation whatsoever. So they're down there trying to figure out what's going on. Now, This area is a digestive system, and I mean a big one. And you can see all the chemistry, you can see the enzymes, you can see the islets of Langerhans. I mean, we can go right down into the pancreas and everything. So let's see. I'm going to first set it up with this first little clip, and then we'll go into the deep stuff. Here goes.
Okay, my friends, this is my claim. This is the area that they're exploring. There is a trench that just exploded like crazy. I believe it is a portion of the intestine. This whole area is related, to my mind, is the digestive system. It's giving off gases that are the same gases you produce in your body, hydrogen sulfide gases and so forth, as the biological material in your gut breaks down. Well, you poop it out. Well, there's no place for it to go here. And eventually it has just festered so much that it's just exploded up absolutely catastrophically from this one area. It's quite a large explosion. And I can see all of the dynamics of the biology there. So let's go through the pictures. Let's go through a little clip here and a clip there of the video. This is Africa is splitting apart. Dabu fissure in Ethiopia. Now, I looked at Ethiopia quite carefully, and it is it's a region of biology. I mean, everything is biology, but it's a region that we can explore the biology closely.
All right. So that's the setup for it. Whereas these guys are going to go down there and try to figure out what happened with this gigantic explosion. So let's go to the next clip. All right, whoops. Where were we? On this one here, yeah. Here we go.
Okay, my friends, this is going to be very interesting. This is Africa is splitting apart.
Now, first of all, I want to make sure that everybody understands. These were recorded a couple of days ago, and we may not get a good sound, but after the presentation of each clip, we'll discuss it, and if Liam has questions or I can elaborate a little more, I will. But you may have a hard time hearing it well. Anyway, here goes.
Dabu fissure, Ethiopia, and this is from the BBC's Hottest Place on Earth. Jimmy Bagpuss put this out. Now, all I'm going to do is comment, in fair use act, I'm just commenting on what they see and what I see, and they're two completely different things, I believe. So we're just going to be getting little clips of this absolutely enormous fissure that it just exploded one day, popped up like if you remember in Turkey they had an enormous collapse. Well, this is not far off from that. This is a huge, I believe these are people standing over here. This is a huge explosion that came out one day. It happened. Now, I believe I understand exactly what this is. And this area, I believe I understand what the area is. Now, like I say, we're going to go through pictures. We're going to go through just what caused this. This is very big. This is not a little tiny thing. This is enormous. And it exploded. And there is a reason for everything that happens. And what is that reason? Well, that's what we're going to try to find out. But look at that puppy. Now, I do understand the layering of the Earth and what it represents, because it's not just geology. It is literally biology. And I will prove this to you. You know, if you're a thinking person, see these little... I know exactly what that is. And I can show, this is a lot of stuff in here that indicates exactly what it is, so stick around.
Alright, so what you saw there, like in this trench, those little ripples, those were these little bumps here. I believe those are the inside of an intestine. I know it sounds insane, but spontaneous combustion is when biological material has nowhere to expand to as the gases start to come out. And he's going to be talking about the gases a lot in a minute. And when those gases have nowhere to go, they fester until there's just nothing that can happen, and then they explode. And that is precisely what happened. Now, let's take the next one.
Okay, they said the ground has swollen just before this popped.
Now, you got any questions yet, Liam? You following this so far all right?
Yeah, no, I was just taking in a couple of notes there. Yeah, those bumps. I noticed those bumps as well while you was mentioning, and that there isn't any channels to indicate its normal weathering and runoff.
Right.
Those bumps they're a feature, aren't they?
These little mountainish looking things up here, I believe, are something in the digestive system that has blown up to a point where it just can't get any higher in these areas, and it ended up popping out through the bottom here. So let's just keep going with this. Here goes.
Burst open in a massive explosion.
You see this? I think the whole thing running right down there was an intestine, just basically laying on the ground. This is stuff, I don't know, all of this stuff.
All I can think of is these big bumpers up at the top, and all this round little area here was either the stomach or the colon or something along that line that had pressurization, and this thing just finally couldn't take it anymore, and it popped. And this all happened right overnight. They woke up in the morning, well, they heard it at night, and I guess in the morning it was like this.
Stuff is biology, I can guarantee you that. Where it was headed, I don't know. But I believe this little rise right here is all the same pop from this. I believe it was an intestine.
All right, so that's my claim so far. So let's keep on going and see what we can come up with next.
Okay, they're going down into this crevice, and they're talking about the gases. Now listen.
As well as sulfur dioxide, there's the threat of carbon monoxide and hydrogen sulfide, all of which will kill.
All of which are also digestive processes. All of those gases are given off by the breakdown of biological material. It decomposes, and it's just like anything else. If this thing was filled with food when it died, who knows how long ago, eventually these things cause these earthquakes and volcanoes. I mean, that's what happens. That's what's causing these things.
You know, volcanoes are digestive systems exploding, basically. that's what it has nothing to do with that, tectonic plates rubbing together and all that stuff. It's biology exploding out. And I know that for a fact because there's a volcano named after me, somebody long ago in my family, and it's a rectum.
I'll tell you what, Roger, I have a harder time with continental drift than I do with your idea, to be honest.
Oh yeah, well, continental drift is just everything. The whole Earth is made out of biology. I don't care what anybody says anymore. I see it, and you'll see it in a second. It's so beyond belief that like you were talking before, when we were talking, you said it's hard for your mind to catch up with the reality of what you're seeing. There's no way to discount it. You can't discount it. But your mind is telling you, no, this can't be. This is freaking crazy, man.
And that's how I get past it. It's like get past it, folks. You can put it in suspended animation. You got to leave it and go, okay, well, let's look at the rest of it. It's like bite size. You can't finish the degree on day one, can you? So you've got to go through the process. You gotta
let it sink in, man. It's got to sink deep into those cerebral cells because they're locked. Most people's minds are literally locked.
You've got a lifetime. However long you've been alive, that's your lifetime. You've got a whole lifetime of being told no on this kind of thing. So you've got to, you know what I mean?
You just got to think for yourself. That's the key now. Is look and don't discount anything anymore. I mean nothing. You know, even the most crazy things. And some of them are literally crazy, and they're wrong to just discount reality, which is like there's a lot of things I'm not going to go into, but people they say, oh, this is all computer controlled graphics. And then before they even look, they don't even look at the video, and within 1 minute I have all these things. Oh, that's all this computer. I say you haven't even looked at it. How do you know that? But anyway, here goes. they're going to go down into this trench. Now, these gases are really deadly, and they're the same things that you fart. And if you just lived in your farts, you'd die. That's because there's, it's just nasty stuff.
The Earth is a biological creature. You can laugh all you want.
Dougal has completed the scan of the rim of the fissure and is ready to get down inside for the final part of the picture. But
All right, let's go down inside with it.
All right, so now we're going to go down inside the belly of the beast. And here we go.
Now they're getting down inside here where all these gases are spewing out, which are decomposition gases. Listen to what he says about rotten eggs.
failed or his face mask slipped, the fissure would have claimed its first human victim.
You see that black stuff? That's nothing more than poop. that's all it is crap. Now listen, he's going down in there, isn't he?
All they have to do is take 1 or 2 breaths of this very toxic substance and they get it. Now this, I'm telling you right now, that is poop.
Pretty much they say the last thing you'll ever smell is the smell of rotten eggs, which is H2S, and
That's dead.
You crawl up somebody's butt, you're probably going to die.
That's right. Somebody did crawl into a cesspit to get their iPhone, didn't they? And they did die.
Is that right?
It's toxic. Yeah, yes. Yeah.
No shit. I didn't know
Not even
that.
his own phone. Somebody else couldn't get their phone, and he went to get the guy's phone. He climbed into the toilet and went in.
And he died from the gases? Oh my God, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Imagine that. Yeah, look it up.
All right, listen to what this says. And this is important to understand the process, not just the smell and that there's sulfur and so forth. Your gas may smell like rotten eggs because of the sulfur that's in fiber-rich foods. So when you eat them, they don't smell like sulfur when you put it in your mouth. When you put it on the counter, it doesn't smell like sulfur. Why does it smell like sulfur? It's being attacked by bacteria, breaking the molecules apart to create the things that your body needs to run on, which one of them is sulfur. You need a lot of sulfur. And you get it from these foods. And this is where these biological materials are housed in that, I believe, intestine, and it exploded. Smells just like rotten eggs. Last thing you'll smell.
So that's that. Now, we were looking at this is the sulfur right here. And I mean, we're talking some serious amount of sulfur. And
That's a lot of sulfur.
oh, this thing is amazing. This is from, whoops, hold on. This is the unearthly scenery in Daoul Depression, Ethiopia. Now, again, fair use, we just want to look at this to see what they're saying is out here, and we're going to try to make our interpretation of what this represents in if it was biology, and it is biology, I can tell you that. Where do you see this stuff? Here it goes. All right, now it's going to just be music, so I'm just going to turn the music right off. Now, what are we looking at?
Yeah.
You see these 2 big bumps back here?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Those are some form of an organelle. An organelle
Right.
is inside of body organs, and they do specific little jobs. There's another one over there. And the main task of this whole organ is to create sulfur, it looks like to me. I mean, a hell of a lot of coming out of here. Now, then there's all kinds of pools of liquids and bubbling places. You see these different colors? Those are transition metals.
I'm just going to ask you that, yeah.
Yeah, those different colors represent transition metals. And transition metals are what bring molecules in and out of your digestive system and into your cells. Now, they have accumulated here because the thing is dead and it no longer transfers them through the body, picking up and so forth. So they've ended up bringing stuff down here and just laying here dead. And look at all this chemistry. Now, in these pools of water, they look like water, but they're really they're digestive juices and enzymes. And these different organs, whoops, all right, we're going to go through a commercial here. But these different organs produce different types of enzymes. And the enzymes are what do the biology of breaking things down and separating sulfur out of these fibrous foods. It's a process of breaking down everything that's in your body. And the only way you can break things down is with enzymes. And the only way you get the enzymes is because of certain types of bacteria. That's why they always say, oh yeah, well, we figured it out. It's this type of bacteria that's living there. Well, the bacteria is there making enzymes. They don't understand this is a biological process. Now, as they go forward through here, they're just sort of going to look at this. I'm going to move a little through it, but up here you're going to see these are all bubbling, boiling places that are coming up from inside of these enzyme factories. There's factories in your body that create these biology.
Come to think of it, isn't that the same process what's going on in your garden then? So so they're getting broken down by the transition metals to turn them into micronutrients.
Well, actually, wait, hold on one second. The actual process is bacteria, which is everywhere, are single-celled little products, and they create an enzyme. And the enzyme is the only thing that can break stuff down fast enough to be biological. You could never do this with just the molecules disintegrating and so forth. This is actually reactive chemistry. This is your body creating, well, you're not your body, it's bacteria. Everything that's being created here, spitting all that stuff out, bacteria are creating enzymes. The enzymes are so unbelievably chemical. One single molecule of an enzyme can break down hundreds of thousands of other molecules into little bits and pieces in less than a second. And they're the only thing that can do that. So the bacteria create the enzymes. The enzymes are the chemistry. The chemistry makes this happen. The chemistry is like acids and salts and really toxic stuff. When they show some pits in here that are bubbling up enzymes that are just amazing.
That's interesting because, believe it or not, I discovered this recently. That's one of the things that they tell you to do if you garden. Unusual tip is to save your piss.
Yeah, well, yeah.
And there's so many good things. But,
Bodily.
It makes the enzymes seem like computer coders, doesn't it? Then, so they can go in. That's why they can do it, because they've got the code. It's almost like they can go in and take down a whole system.
They are programmed. Here, let me just explain to you about the digestive system and about the chemistry of it, and enzymes and bacteria. Right now, almost everybody's digestive system is damaged, and the bacteria that should be living there to do all this chemistry, to break down these things that you need sulfur, you need calcium, you need all these different things to break down, to create your bones and your muscles and your tendons and service your body. And the only way that happens is because the bacteria are in your gut and they produce enzymes to break these things down fast enough so they can work in your body. Everybody's guts are destroyed now, basically. The kids that are getting all these diseases, autism, and all of these terrible cancers and everything, little kids, their digestive systems are destroyed. They have bad bacteria, and they should know this, and I think they do know this, and I don't know why they won't allow these fecal matter transplants, which is nothing more than taking somebody's good bacteria and putting it in your gut, and then your gut starts to produce all these things that are necessary for your life. These kids that have, and anybody that has virtually any disease right now, it's a chronic illness, any cancer, autism, Alzheimer's, any of these things these are invasive chemistry that's breaking through the membranes, causing inflammation and destroying like lymph nodes. I'm going to show you lymph nodes in a minute and how they get destroyed. Now let's just go back to this and hopefully you understand bacteria. If you don't have the right bacteria in your body, you're going to be sick, and you very likely will die from not having the correct bacteria.
Yeah, it makes total sense. I'm having flashbacks to biology class, but that's that. Thanks for that explanation, Roger. I appreciate that.
Yeah,
that's why you need to be doing courses, isn't it? Packaging this stuff up.
It's nothing more than chemistry, man. It's nothing more than chemistry and biology. But this is like, you can see it's so incredibly huge. And when I show you, we're going to go back to the fish, because the fish is the thing that shows everything. But some of these boiling little pools, and see these colors? They're all transition metals. And they say, oh, well, that's just bacteria. That's just because, well, the bacteria carries the transition metals with it. They're the things that drive and drop off chemistry. In other words, when your blood brings things around, it's coming around with all of the iron and all of these different, transition metals. And they have charges on them. And the charge holds on to a little piece of chemistry, and where it gets where it's got to go, it drops that chemistry off by picking up another charge, like it drops off the oxygen, picks up carbon dioxide, that type of thing. And that's how things transfer through your body. Now,
right, that makes sense. That makes sense why drinking distilled water that's got no additives in it probably flushes your system better. People use that as a kind of treatment, don't they?
That does help. That does. And the other thing that helps is silica water. Silica is basically boiled down from phosphorus. There's a lot of chemical reactions to talk about, but I thought this had all the boiling stuff. But over here, you see that? You see this stuff right here? Yeah. That's the islets of Langerhans. Those are the islets of Langerhans. I'm going to take a picture to show what they are in the biology, but this whole area was nothing more than biology. All right, and these are all this stuff here. Everybody's got a gun.
The pen is mightier.
All right, now look at this. This right here is enzymes boiling out. You see these boiling spots? This is what your body does inside of you. You never know it, but it's boiling out just like this. Different enzymes boiling out from different parts of your body, and they pump these little enzymes into your lymph. And see it right here?
There's all the colours as well.
Yeah,
lots of colours there.
There's a bubbler over here, and there's one over here. You see the one over here? Watch it. And that is enzymes being pumped into the body. It's still doing its work. That's exactly what happens in your body. And
the chemistry will still be running, won't it?
It does. It is absolutely running. Now, there's a place, and you've seen the fish. You see this? Look at this. That's supposed to be pumping enzymes into your lymph. So your lymph system goes through your body and collects up all the crap and brings it up to the lymph nodes. Now, we're going to go looking at that right now. Okay, I want you to see this, because this right here, I'm going to tell you right now, is the head of a dragon. And that dragon has spit all of this stuff coming down here, this red stuff, out. Of course it's a drawing, but I'll show you this in detail. And that stuff has come down and attacked a fish, and that gave us the ability to look inside the fish's body, and we can actually see the blood vessels and the lymph nodes, the lymph system, and how it destroys the lymph nodes when they get toxified. And this is toxic on steroids. This is dragon drool that attacked that fish. So we're going to look at that right now, and we're going to look at the lymph nodes and how they are destroyed. And then I have found some working lymph nodes that will show you what a working lymph node should look like. And they have all the transition colors. The lymph nodes I'm going to show you have turned black because they've been attacked and destroyed. Okay, I just showed you the highlighted dragon head. Comes all the way around here. So that's his nose. It comes up around. This is the throat. Comes all the way down. And here's his red flared eye. It flashes. And he spit all this stuff down. Now, take your time and just slow down and watch. Coming right out of his throat, right here. It appears that this little yellow area is what feeds the toxins. And this comes right out of his gut. I've looked at all that feeding down. Now, this is the dragon venom. All right, it's very, very, very toxic looking stuff. And this stuff has come down, all the way down. You see it over here? Look at this. You see this green? Remember this green color?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, remember this green color. That is what was flowing down here. You see it flowing down towards the fish. And what fish am I talking about? I'm talking about this gigantic fish right here. All right, that's the fish. And here's his scales, these little pink scales that go down all the way down his body. His tail is back here. And this is the fin. Now don't forget, here's the dragon's head, right up here. He's spitting all this dark stuff down at the fish. Well, it hit his fin right here, and then down here, it's invaded his what we would call vital flesh. All right, the fin is not a vital piece of flesh, but down here, it hits the really bloody flesh and starts to attack, and this is the attack into his body. Now, it comes down here further and continues to eat into his flesh. This area right here, if you can see, this area right down here is where it has invaded his flesh. Now, what it's done is it's dissolved, literally dissolved the scales and everything else. So we're down into his blood supply and his actual, the meat inside his body. All of these little red tubes here, the big ones are arteries. An artery provides the main supply of blood, of red blood. That's why they're red. Now, then they feed off these little tubes coming off to the sides. These are called blood vessels. So the main tube comes down and the little tubes run off to feed what they call capillaries. These little bitty buggers down here are the capillaries. And then the capillaries dump into the black ones, which are the veins. All right, so you're with me? We got red, vital blood when it was alive. I don't know if it's looking pretty red now. I don't know. But anyway, it's red, and when it's alive, it's got all the nutrients, it's got the oxygen, it's got all that stuff. Now, as it goes through the body, it feeds all the cells. There's a million zillion cells in here that they were fed, and then when it's done, it has nothing left to it, and it comes down here and it dumps its contents into the black tubes. The black tubes are the veins. So now we got arteries and we got veins. There's another system in your body, it's called the lymphatic system. What that does is it cleans up all the trash. So as you're creating trash in your body, which every time you use something, you create debris. Your body dies continuously. You have cells dying right now. And then what happens? You have flesh-eating bacteria in your body living there, and it's supposed to be there. And it eats your dead flesh. And then what does it do? It takes that dead flesh goop. It actually turns it into goop. And it takes that and it brings it over to the lymph nodes. And how does it do that? Well, it's through the lymph system. So here we are again, the vital flesh. We saw the blood supplies. You see these black spots over here? These are lymph nodes. They're not supposed to be black like that. When a person gets cancer, they get big black blotches on their skin, and that's the lymph nodes dying. And this is what's happened right here. You see the rest of the fish? There's no lymph nodes sticking out, no black spots. How come these are here? And how come these are here, these black spots? That's because it's trying to clean up the toxins, and it can't. They died. Now let's look at the lymph nodes. The lymph is not going to be red, and it's not going to be black. It's going to be pinkish looking. So now we're going to come down to where, remember the green stuff?
Yeah, the nasty looking stuff.
That's it right there. You see it? That's come down.
Yeah, that's the stuff.
That's the stuff. Now, it has hit the fish. This is on the fish's back. You see? It's right there. That's on the fish's back. That's not way back up here. It's already come down and invaded them. So now we have toxins. So the fish's body sends over the lymph. You see this stuff right here, this colored stuff? The fish sent the lymph. It sent the lymph over there, and which is your body does the same thing. It says, whoa, 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 we got a problem over here. Get that crap out of here. It's going to kill us. So the lymph comes over. It says, I can take this stuff. I'll take it, and I'll bring it over to the node. So it sends it down, 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 through the lymph system. This is all lymph, this pink stuff. And bam, it brings it over to the lymph node, which is this thing right here, this black spot. That's a lymph.
Okay, so you've got a vasculatory system, tree trunk, branches, twigs deliver into, and then you've got a similar thing to get rid of the, like a poison highway.
This is right. This is the detoxifier in your body. Now, why do people get skin cancer? Because right now, that's skin cancer. That, my friend, is cancer. No difference whatsoever to somebody getting lymphoma, which is death of your lymph nodes. They first swell up and they say, ooh, I got a bump under here, and it's a lymph node, it's a bump. Well, how did the bump happen? Well, the bump happened because it couldn't get rid of the toxins. That's in a person's body. And the reason it can't get rid of the toxins is because the bacteria didn't have the enzymes. If you got bit by a snake or like a rattlesnake or something, this is the exact same thing. And you might die because you can't detoxify yourself quick enough. But in your normal life, you should be very easily able to detoxify. But what happens is this bacteria that's living in here is the key to destroying all of these toxins. People go out in the sun, in the ultraviolet, they lay out there all day to get a suntan, and the ultraviolet kills the bacteria that's supposed to be living in here. So the bacteria is gone, you can't clean up, and then you get lymph cancer, lymphoma, skin cancer. Mm-hmm. So here's what's happened. The lymph has brought all that nasty stuff. It comes down, it comes through these, you see these webs here?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's like filters. Those are filtration devices. And they're supposed to filter out the stuff. And then they're supposed to bring it inside the middle here. And there's supposed to be chemistry in here, which you would see all kind of different colored transition metals in here doing their job. And then it spits out through the lymph and out into your excretory system, where it goes out through your poop or through the pee. Here's another one here being killed too. It's bringing some more down to this one. And this one can't handle it either. You see all these little entryways? They're bringing all that crap in there. It can't handle it. It's dead. Turned black. Balled up. This one the same thing. This one the same thing. They're all being toxified. And they can't handle it.
And the concentration of blackness is following the channels as well.
Yeah,
that's what freaks me out about this stuff. You're finding the right structures in the right places for things.
It's exactly what it is. All of these are lymph nodes. They cannot handle the influx of the toxins. All right, it's just like when you take poison, this exact same thing happens. Identical, no difference whatsoever. Your lymph nodes will try to detoxify your body. They cannot do it. Because they don't, in us, our daily life, we have to detoxify just, as a normal process of life. This is not a normal process of life. This is an attack, a violent, vicious attack by a gigantic dragon that runs all the way across North Africa, from here all the way across to over here. And here's his tail over here. It's still, decomposing. This is runoff. This is runoff of decomposing bodies. And there's his tail right there.
Yeah, and then scales as well that are layered.
Yeah.
Same with when you just described that, was great to see after seeing the about the stomach enzymes and how nasty that stuff is and all the sulfur. So then when you imagine from above acid or something eating into it, you can see it's different. It's got different topography, hasn't it? It's 3D. It's not just a flat surface. So it just, do you know what I mean? You can see where it's buried in certain areas more than others, can't you?
You can see right through. This is almost like taking a CAT scan or an MRI in color.
Yeah.
I mean, this is inside the body. This is inside. You see this right here? These here. Watch the difference. You see the break here?
Yeah.
And you see all these little lines?
Yeah, I can't even explain. I've said this to you before. It's hard. You can't have that many streams, can you? I don't know. But how did it go horizontal suddenly?
This is all lymph nodes. Right down here is where you create your blood pressure. This is where blood pressure is created. They're either opened up or they're pinched off, and that creates the thump, 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 thump behind it. How much can you squirt in here at a time? That's what blood pressure is all about. And this is where it is established, right here in these capillaries. I love biology. I love chemistry. I love all of this stuff, man. It drives. It stimulates the hell out of me. I don't know how people can just who cares about that? I can't. That's
all right. That's why I like you. There's the bit of that as well, because it's exciting. I find this stuff exciting. I often think. I mean, it's nice to have a bit of relaxation, but I often think if it's not educational, why bother? Discovering things.
People. I'm around a lot of people. They love to play cards and games and solitaire. And I said, what's that all about? Why do you do that? Anyway, this is just unbelievable. But it was all written about. This is supposedly Typhon, this dragon. I showed you the picture of him here. Hold on. There he is, right there.
I just thought, right. I didn't notice before. Where's his wing then? Is that above? Because I just assumed it was on his body and decomposed, but is it above it? Because there's a lot of green up there, isn't there, above it? And it kind of looks
this up here?
Yeah.
Well, not this, I don't think. I don't. No, I really haven't looked. I think it's pretty much right up to here.
That's what I thought, because that's how you'd imagine it if there was a bird on its side, sort of thing.
There's something.
I don't know. Maybe one flopped out. It's just crazy to.
I mean, this is some kind of dragon scale, feather scales. I don't know what they are, but this is not just average You know what I mean? It's not just hills and valleys.
That's something unusual, isn't it? That's something one-off, because we're going to have to compare that to. I don't know.
Well, here's what you compare it to: is his throat. All right, so this is maybe this is a wing. I don't know what's going on there, because it seems to be disassociated from this part of his body. So it's either a wing or an arm or something. I don't know. But here's his neck. All of this here, from here down, all of that is just bloody runoff. All right, and that's what happens when a body decomposes. It just gets all that effluent, they call it. So here's his head, here's his neck, and they call this the Draco River or something, which means dragon river. And it runs right down here, all the way down, a Dragon Valley, something like that. And these are all scales. These are all dragon scales. All right.
Yeah, I've studied them a lot. I think I've said this to you before as well. But if you get in nice and close, you can see that they're layered like plates.
Yeah, you can't hardly miss this. There's no question. This is not hills and valleys. These little passageways between these plates make it so that he can bend his neck. Otherwise, he couldn't bend it. And every one of them runs off, is still giving off fluids from his body. This is not fluids from rivers or something. These are fluids that are still running out of his body. And this is, again, we're into blood and lymph and all of that same stuff running out. All right, so here's his throat coming down. Here's all the dragon scales. And all of this stuff running out. And this is the edge of his throat. This right here is the edge of his throat. All this stuff down here is all runoff. And then you get to here where his throat was cut by Zeus. And that's exactly what it says. Zeus, with his great and mighty sword, cut his throat. And he is still bleeding out in the desert. This is blood. When you see it over here? That's blood. That is blood, my friend. Now, what is going on here? Why is this green and this red? Well, the red is the blood. The green is things growing in the moisture that's being emitted in the desert from his dying, dead body that still has huge arteries and veins and blood vessels in it that will run water out of here. But the water is mixed with the blood, so you end up with this extremely green.
It's going to be packed with nitrogen, not green.
Yeah, exactly. And most of it's the nitrogen, but it's also the transition metals. If you don't have the transition metals, the nitrogen, well, it's the two of them. Let's just go with that. But that is what you got here. And the people are living down in here because there's life here. You see?
Yeah. That's right. And that's a tourist attraction as well, that exact spot.
Is it? I didn't know that.
Yeah, because I looked it up. Yeah, tourist attraction.
Well, what do they call it? The throat of the dragon or something?
Right. I can't remember. It's got some African name, I think.
Now watch this. Now remember I told you the toxin is coming out here, this yellow stuff? You see it right here?
Yeah,
that's coming down into his beards. These are the dragon beards. You see this one here? There's one over this side. That's the beard coming out of his throat. And here's the one on the other.
It makes more sense as well, because you get that, don't you? You get birds do regurgitation, don't they, and stuff like that, just to feed the chicks.
Well, this I'm not sure what the story is here, but I can tell you where this toxin is coming from. It's coming right out of here, flowing down out. Now, where did it get created? If we follow the yellow all the way down, and these are the things that are on the dragons and the parades. They have all that flashy stuff going down the side. This is it. Right. The yellow is the deadly stuff. The yellow is the killer. Now, where is it coming from? It's coming from way down here in the gut.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at. Because the stomach acids and that, and do you know what I'm saying?
It makes sense. No, you make perfect sense. It's coming out of this area down in his gut. Now, I don't know if this is part of it, feeding up into it.
In fact, salamanders, the Komodo dragons, the massive salamanders, they've got poisonous teeth, haven't they? They've got poisonous saliva, I think.
Do they? I don't know.
Sure.
I know they have real toxic, I don't know whether it's a bacteria or whatnot, but...
That's what it is, that's it. I think they've got this, bacteria.
I think so, yeah. But I think this yellow is not coming out of here. This is another biology. And the yellow, though, comes way down from here. And I think it's coming right out of this area here. And then it feeds right up this tube all the way and starts to feed its way up to go kill things.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah.
Down here, all this is red blood runoff from this dying creature. And this is his pooper. Here's where he poops out. Right down this tube right here. And that's where it comes out. Coming right down here and bloop. And there's the two sides. There's the poop side is here. And that's where you get the actual poopish stuff. And this side here is where the fluids run. And then they mix together. See them here? Just like in a bird. Just like in a reptile.
Yeah.
They come once
So,
here.
so when a dragon burns you, then it's chemical burns, right?
Well, coming out of his mouth this is poop. They're living right here in the poop. They love this. I mean, poop is one.
Fertilization, yeah.
Yeah, this is where we're fertile. This is the fertile valleys. These are the fertile areas that you live in, the digestive system. And, you know, the Tigris and Euphrates, 100%, that's all it is a digestive system. Tigris and Euphrates, the promised land, was the guts of some gigantic creature. I don't know what, but it is gigantic. It's even bigger than this. You know, I can't account for this stuff, but I can show it to you. And I can tell you right now, the Tigris and Euphrates is also a rectum. Here it is right here. Coming down here, this is all digestive system. This is the Tigris and Euphrates. Whenever you see these different colored pools, those are different digestive enzymes. And they're being created as, you see this? Who the hell would make something like that? That's some kind of an organelle that's in the system of these rivers, which they're not rivers, they're digestive. This whole thing, I don't know how big it is, but this is right at the colon. This is right at the very bottom where they poop. You want to see where it poops? Right here.
Let's have a look.
Right there.
But you make a good point though, because with some of these little pools, they're a bit too irregular, aren't they, to be weathering over time?
Well, where do you see this? You want to see something irregular? This will blow your mind. This right here is where the poop comes out and goes into the ocean, into the Gulf here. Now, dogs and reptiles and birds have these anal glands, and there's one here and there's one here, and this is and they clog up. This one got clogged up and it's infected. You see this? This dark spots, they're not supposed to be here. That dark spot right there is a clogged up anal gland. And you're going to say, oh, Roger, how can you prove that? Well, I'll show you how I can prove it. Here's the anal gland itself is in desperate trouble. This thing is infected like hell.
Holy cow.
It is extremely infected. All right, you see that stuff?
Yeah.
This is it doesn't get much worse than this. This is it's as infected as you want to get before you need an operation. You see that? Now you want to see what a good one looks like, because the other one didn't get infected. The other one didn't get infected. Remember this. Watch this. Here's the main organ, which is the anal gland. It's supposed to take out all this garbage and send it out into the ocean, or in a creature, it would just sort of drip out the sides. When they poop, you ever see a dog when he poops, at the end you see a little squirt come out? That's what it is. It's the anal juices. It's the anal juices. Now, this one clogged up. They can't squirt. It can't squirt anymore. It's supposed to squirt right out here. It's all clogged up. You want to see one that isn't? The other side isn't. The other one's perfect. You see it? It's absolutely flawless. This side, see how uninfected it is?
Oh yeah, I can see. Yeah, no, because if once it's just broken, isn't it? It's everywhere. Yeah.
This one here is not infected. It's squirting its stuff right out, just the way an anal gland should, coming right out of here. You see this? That's anal.
A strong red border as well. I notice.
Yeah, that's squirting right out of here, and doing its job just like it's supposed to. That is a non-infected anal gland. This one over here, not so much. This one here got serious issues. You see the difference?
Yeah, say And on the healthy one, there is let's say it's got nice strong red borders, because that would indicate it's strong walls, and it's working. Nothing's got into it and broke it. So
Yeah, well, nothing's clogged it up. This is the reason this is all nasty is it's clogged up. These big balls of goop here are not supposed to be there. Those had been squirted out. We took our dog not long ago. He had anal glands clogged up. They take their finger and they go in and they just squirt. They push it down. They just squirt it right out of there.
Right.
You got to get that stuff unblocked. It's blocked. And that's what's causing all that nasty, nasty, toxic, nasty stuff over here. This is bad. The other one has nothing like this. And that's right there, right in the middle. That's where it poops. That's where the two of them come out. Right here and right here. And the anal glands are on the side. But the poop comes right down the middle. This is where it poops right out of here.
Yeah.
And you say, oh, Roger, that can't be. Well, it is, and I can show you one that has my name on it, which is, I've always been called a rectum. But they don't usually use that terminology. This is my mountain, Mount Spur. Let me bring it up here. Hold on. Mount Spur, Alaska. All right, and I was up here in Alaska. I was right across the other side of the bay. I lived over here in Anchorage for a couple of years. This is on the other side of the bay, and this is Mount Spur right there. It's an active volcano. All right, that's the volcano right there. Now, it runs out here and it comes down, and it's nothing more than an anus. My name is associated to an anus. All right, what happens here? All of the stuff from Mount Spur comes down here and washes into this area here. You see it?
Yeah, I see that. It's like a valley there.
It's coming down here, yeah. Exactly. It comes down here and it drains into the glacier. So this is the side from Mount Spur is right here. Follow it coming over. You see the swish it comes in? So
Yeah.
This is the Spur side. All right, the other side comes from up in here. See that? Look at this. Isn't that something? You ever see anything look like that?
No. Wow.
That's the other side. All right, so this is the poop side, is Spur, and the other side is the fluid side. So let's go back to Spur. Here we go. Mount Spur, here we are. Now, one day I got a poop. It comes out. It comes down here. It comes right around and swishes right down this here. Remember, this is not Spur. This is not Spur stuff. This is Spur stuff. I go deep into the poop. So Spur comes down here, and here's the Spur poop. Every time I poop, it gets another layer of poop. Can you believe it? Every time I poop. And that's it right there. Then it mixes together and does the same thing they all do. It turns into the cloaca, and then that stuff runs down. Here's the other side here where you got the white stuff. And the poop stuff comes down this side. They two mix together. Remember all the chemistry and all the different... they may not show this. There was missile sites over here.
Oh yeah, so you're gonna fuzz it out.
That's what I did. I was up there. So I used to service the Nike Hercules missiles during Vietnam era, and then all this stuff mixes together and it poops out right here, right into the bay. That's all the poop. right, and this was the crazy thing was, this is hilarious, really. I'm doing the research on volcanoes because I said to myself, these volcanoes are bodies exploding. Now, whether they're erupting from the digestive system or whether it's right out of the anus, like Spur is an anus. That's what they tell me. I've always been told I was an anus. Anyway, I realized that these things were biological. So I didn't even know about Mount Spur. I had no idea about Mount Spur. And I lived right over here for a couple of years while I was up here. And I never heard the word Mount Spur. So here I am, maybe 10 years ago or so, 15 years ago. I'm trying to figure out what the chemistry is for volcanoes. So I put in volcano chemistry, and I click it, and it comes up Mount Spur. I said, "What the hell is this?" And it was they did a big study on Spur because it was right near these nuclear missiles. So they did because they had a real bad volcano eruption up there in I think it was 93 or something, 1993. It was a real bad eruption, and that was Mount Spur erupted. And I watched the plane. They were flying over that area as the eruption took place, and it was like an atomic bomb going off. You ever see how the compression bomb goes and the whole thing pops? It was just like that, and then it was just enormous eruption. And you say, well, where?
They do pop like spots, don't they? They pop like squeezes.
Oh yeah, it was just an enormous explosion. Now you're going to say, well, what was this the digestive system of? Well, it was the digestive.
Exactly.
It was the digestive system of Scorpzilla, who is this guy right here. Here's his head. It's all of California. This is his eyeball. You see that?
Yeah, I've heard of Scorpzilla. Is that one of your buddies found that?
I made the name. Is Scorpzilla. And I can guarantee you this is going to be salty over here. Where it's running out of his eye. All eyes have some salt running out of them. Now, down over in here is what's called Crowley Lake. And this is where his beard is. I'll show you that in a second. That's a stunner, Crowley Lake. Nobody has any explanation for it. Now, it goes down here. Here's his back. I believe this is a wing or a shoulder or whatnot. But he runs all the way up, and this is where he poops. All of this is his body. These things here, I don't know what it was coated with, but this is his body. This is something of biology, because this whole area is him, and it runs all the way up, all the way up, all the way up. There's where he poops, and the reason I call him Scorpzilla is because this is his scorpion tail. It comes all the way out like this.
Yeah.
You see, here's his head, here's his body, here's his pooper, and here's his tail goes all the way out, and that's a scorpion pincher right there. That's a scorpion.
Yeah, I've seen this, and it's exactly the same. Yeah, the scorpion pincher is exactly the right contours. Because I'd look out for stuff like that.
No, not only that. Wait till you see how the mechanism works. First of all, when he died, he squirted all his goop out, and here it is right here. There's the goop coming out of his pincher. All right. Now.
Yeah, because that's what happens.
They squirt it out.
So that's what you'd expect.
Now, right here, you see these little wrinkles here?
Mm-hmm.
You don't see any wrinkles down here, do you?
No.
Why are these wrinkles here? That's because this can retract. There's the pin.
Yeah.
And this whole thing retracts this way, right into this pocket. So when you get over in here, it goes boom, and it whacks you.
Oh, so it's like so the hook bit stays in place, but the longer bit will like pop out.
Right. It would normally be about like this. It would stick out about in here.
Oh, so the whole I get you. So the whole thing can pop out.
Yeah, so the whole thing
Like
goes
a grabber.
zoom, and it would jab you right into it. So it would,
Oh my god, like in Aliens.
yeah, this would scoop you in, the tail,
Yeah.
and this would jab you in. It's just like a
That makes
pincher.
sense.
So this pulls
Yeah.
you in, and this comes snapping out of there, whacks you, and jabs you and kills you. That's how Scorpzilla did his business. And that is a big, big creature. California is his head. Right? And of course you know about Quetzalcoatl.
Yeah, the feathers on that.
He's over
It's
here.
just nuts. Yeah, it's crazy.
Now
Well,
this
it's not though, is it? Like I say, you've got to focus on. That's why I like that you stick with the materials and stay on track, because you've got to focus on the bits you can account for, ain't you? And just don't worry about the bits you can't.
I cannot account for these sizes. I can't account for a lot of things. There are a lot of things that were written in the ancient texts though that speak about this. Now this one died. Here's Quetzalcoatl. Here's his head. And he snakes all the way up the east coast. And he was a feathered serpent, and these are the feathers up here. You see all the feathers? These are the Green Mountains.
Yeah.
These feathers are identical to the feathers that they show for Quetzalcoatl. Here's his head. Here's his beards. Remember they have beards?
Mm-hmm.
And up here is the feathers that are his plume. He had a feathered headdress. Now, when he died, he spit out here. This is an area of hypoxia. There is nothing that can live here. It's dead. It's a death zone. He spit all this stuff out, and everything here has been toxified. Nothing lives here. It's 100.
Wow.
It's 100% salt. And a biologist, this guy Myron did a video on this. Oh, we know just how this happened. And I contacted him. I said, Myron, let's talk about this. He says, no, I have nothing in common with you. I am an archaeologist. I'm a scientist. Is that good? Have a nice day.
Yeah, I can't converse.
Yeah, I can't talk to you because I'm a real scientist.
What's the problem? See, it makes it look like it reminds me of, like, you know, when the boxer says he wants to fight, and the guy's like, oh no, deal, it's like making excuses, isn't it? So if you're that good a boxer, do the fight, get the.
No, they I don't know if they're that incompetent that they can't understand this. I can't imagine anybody being that incompetent. So
I'll bet you, Roger, it's a mixture of all the above, and a lot of it. We've all been brainwashed to a different degree. You know what I'm saying? We've all got that. And also as well, it's scary. It takes big boy pants stuff, isn't it? And then it gets people even more scared because of the religions. Do you know what I'm saying? And then what if it's true? What if this stuff's true and you haven't really lived a very good life as well? Do you know what I mean? I think it scares people.
Well, you know what they say in the Bible about the teachers. The teachers are so screwed, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Have you ever read here, let me just show you some. I'm going to stop there.
Yes, show me.
Oh, here goes. This is not good. Okay, we're back at it, and I'm going to show you about the teachers, and it does not look good, and I think it's time for them to reconsider their positions. I know they say, oh, the Bible, that's all nonsense. You can't talk about religion in school. You can't. It's not allowed. Creationism, they will fire you in a heartbeat if you start talking about creationism and God and all that stuff. That's because it's nonsense, because Darwin proved that it's crazy. Well, let me tell you something. I just proved Darwin was crazy. Now, what else is written? This is the King James Version. There's a ton of different versions to the Bible. But this was what they wrote long ago. And it said, there were false prophets among the people. Well, what does that mean? A false prophet is somebody that uses religion to dictate to the people. You got to give me money every week. You got to come here. You got to pray. You got to wash my clothes and clean my feet, and then I maybe can get you in with God. But you got to do all that stuff for me. I'm a prophet. I can take care of you. I can help you. But you got to give me all these things. And that's what they did. They just used the people. Now, so it says the false prophets were among the people. They were just slime balls. Even as there shall be false teachers among you. All right, so there were false prophets back then. We don't have prophets now. We have teachers. Same thing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Identical same thing, only they use you who privily shall bring in damnable heresies. There's no God. Don't speak about God here. We will fail you if you talk about God or religion or Christ or creationism. It's all in our books, and you say what we tell you to say, or we'll ruin your life. We'll literally nail you to a cross. And that's what they do.
Yeah.
That's what they do to the kids.
The priests have become the government-appointed spokespersons.
Yeah,
like saying you got the prophets.
They're the new prophets are the professors, the prophetessors. Now, so
Prophets, ching.
Yep. Now they're in trouble. Now listen what it says. They shall bring in damnable heresies, even denying the Lord that bought them. What does that mean? The Lord bought them. That's a hard one for me to really